students, myself Om Prakash Katre, and today we are discussing regarding the loss of biodiversity. It is very useful topic for our chapter biodiversity and conservation. Students, in loss of biodiversity, before we have learned that there is a rich biodiversity, means there will be more productivity. If there is a rich biodiversity, it means the ecosystem will be more stable. So, this loss of biodiversity, it means reducing the biodiversity, elimination of the biodiversity from the ecosystem, and it is called loss of biodiversity. It means eliminations of removal of the species from the ecosystem, and it is called loss of biodiversity. Rapidly, the loss of the biodiversity is increases. So our biological wealth, biological property of our planet is going to be decline rapidly because the continuously the biodiversity is loss of biodiversity is increases in the due to the colonizations in tropical specific island. We have started making the colonies, we have started making the road, we have started destroying the forest, and due to the colonization, number of the species of the plants and animal lead to extinction. In our book, the number of species are given, such as more than 2000 species of native birds are extinct. According to the IUCN, IUCN stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature and Nature Resources. International Union for the Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. According to the IUCN Red List is what? Red Book is a book in which the name of extinct plants and animals are written. So the name of plants and animal which are going to be vulnerable or which are going to be extinct. So in that book is called the IUCN Red Data Book. So according to the IUCN Red Data Book, many species, more than 784 species, including 333 vertebrate, 359 invertebrates, and 87 species are extinct in last 500 years. Some example recently extinction of the species. That's a very important. The recently some of the species get extinct. So in this, dodo in Mauritius, quagga in Africa, thylacines in Australia, stellar cow it's in the Russia, and three subspecies Bali, Javan, and Caspian of the tiger they extinct. So last 20 year alone we have wit we are witness of the disappearing of the more than 27 species. Now, when the loss of biodiversity is take place in the such range, the extinction across the taxa are not random. So extinction across the taxa are not random. It randomly it not take place. Many group of amphibians appear to be more vulnerable to extinction. It is found that many groups of the amphibians are facing the lot of risks and they are going to extinction. And the rate and present scenario, the rate of extinction is fact that more than 15,500 species worldwide are facing the threat of extinction. So rate of extinction is very high, and due to the extinction, more than 15,000 species, 15,500 species worldwide are facing the problem of the extinction. Recently, 12% of the bird species, 23% of the mammalian species, and 32% of the amphibian species, as well as 31% of the gymnosperm species in the worldwide has the three type explained. So this is the extinction of the three type extinction on these different species worldwide due to the due to the loss of biodiversity. Now we have to understand the what are the major event for the large scale extinction of the species. From study of the history of the life on the earth, if fossils record from the beginning of the fossil record, we learn that large scale loss of the species occur. So large scale loss of the species like the one we are currently witness we have happened earlier. So before human appear on the scene, during the last long period, since origin and diversity of the life of the earth, there were five episodes. So here it is said there were five episodes of the extinction. There were five reason for the extinction of the species. And now earlier there were the five episode of the extinction of species, and now the extinction of species it is called sixth extinction, and this sixth extinction is in the progress. So we should remember what are the five episode of the extinction of the species, and what is the sixth extinction of the sixth episode of the extinction of species. It is called sixth extinction. So if we will see today scenario, we have the large number of human activities, and these human activities are disturbing the our environment, and due to the human activity the species extinction as a current rate is the is to be 100 to 1000 times faster than the earlier time. So here the sixth extinction of the species means what? The extinction of the species due to the human activity, and due to the human activity, the ecologists are one that if the present trend of continuity, present trend of the human being will be continue, then what will happen? Nearly half all the species on the earth might be wiped out within the next 100 years. More than half species of the world will be eliminated, will be deleted from the ecosystem. Let's student we have to understand here in this paragraph only there are the sixth episodes of the extinction of the species. Now this slide shows the culprit. Culprit it means some regions in descending order are suchly change in land and sea used. This is the one region. Direct exploitation of the organism, second region. Climate change, it's also the one region. Pollution, it's another region. And invasion alien species. So these are the main culprit which we used to say five episodes of the extinction of the species. Now what is then sixth extinction of the species? It is the Holocene extinction, otherwise referred to as the sixth mass extinction or Anthropocene extinction. It's ongoing on extinction event of species during the present Holocene epoch, with the more recent time sometime called the Anthropocene as the result of human activity. So what do you mean by the sixth mass extinction? The extinction of the species due to the human activity. These are the some reason for the extinction of the species. If the species get extinct, if the species get lost, so loss of biodiversity in the region, what happen then? It may lead to number one, decline the plant production. So loss of biodiversity in a region, it may lead to decline the plant production. It lowers the resistance to the environmental perturbations such as drought, etc. So living species are resistant to abiotic factor. It may be drought, it may be heat, it may be the rain, it may be the flood. So due to the loss of biodiversity, the resistance toward the environment of the species get decreases, get lower. Third important thing is Due to the loss of biodiversity, increase the variability in certain ecosystem process, such as in plant productivity, water use, waste, and disease cycle. Due to the loss of biodiversity, many variations come in the ecosystem. So these are the some loss of some the reasons when loss of biodiversity it may to lead to it. Then loss of biodiversity, what are the main reasons? What are the main causes? So causes of biodiversity losses. As I have said, the sixth extinctions is the human activity, and human activity rate of human activity get accelerated, and due to the acceleration of the human activity, the rate of rate of extinction of the species is also increases, and that's why large number of the species are having the are facing the risk of the extinction due to the human being. So there are four major causes of biodiversity losses. So let's we have to discuss one by one. So first cause of the biodiversity loss is habitat loss and fragmentation. Student, it's a most dramatic example that habit loss come from the tropical rainforests once covering more than 14% of the earth land surface. Once rainforest now cover none more than the 6%. So it is very dramatic to say that earlier there was the 14% of the forest on the tropical rainforest. It was 14% of the earth's land surface, and now it is only 6%. To see how the land surface is reduced, habitat get lost. Second example we have in Amazon Valley, which we used to say Amazon rainforest, and it is said to be lungs of the planet. But millions of species of plants and animals are being cut and cleared by the culturing soya bean. So what we have started in Amazon Valley also, human activity started, and they started to cut the millions of species of the plant, and instead of place they started cultivating the soya bean, that started use the grassland for grazing of the cattle, and due to this one the degradation of the habitat take place. So due to the degradation of habitat, the loss habitat loss and fragmentation occur. So due to the habitat loss and the fragmentation, the diversity of the species is decreases. One more important thing, when large habitat are broken up, so large habitat are broken and into the small fragment due to the human activity, and so mammal bird requiring large territory, large area to survive, certain animal with migrating habitat are badly affected. So it is found that the main cause of the loss of the biodiversity is habitat loss. That habitat of the wild animal plants we have destructed, and that wide area we have cut for the our benefit, and the habitat loss and fragmentation, they are the these are the reason for the loss of the biodiversity. Second loss of biodiversity, cause of biodiversity is over exploitation. Day by day the human being activities are increases. We are depend on the plant for food and shelter, so it is our basic requirement. But now we need turn to grids. So food and shelter are our basic requirement, but now we are becoming proudy. We this need it turn to grid, it means we are becoming proudy day by day, and due to this what happened, we are becoming proudy, it means more selfish, and it lead to over exploitation, excessive use of the resources, excessive cutting of the plant, destruction of excessive animal species, and it lead to over exploitation of natural resources. And what happened? Many species extinction in the last 500 years. So, due to the over exploitation, stellar sea cow, passenger pigeon, also extinct by the human activity. So many time question asked to you, what are the main cause for the extinction of steller sea cow and passenger pigeon? So main cause of the extinction of steller cow and passenger pigeon is over exploitation. Similarly, recently many marine fishes population around the world are over harvested and endangering the continuous extinction of some commonly important species. So there is a pressure on the aquatic life also, because population is increases, and due to the increasing population we require the more food, we require the more shelter, and for that purpose we are started killing to animal, we are started destructing to plants and wildlife. So this is over exploitation. Third one reason for the causes of the loss of biodiversity is alien species invasion. It means attack of the any other species on stably occupied species. So alien species, new species entered in the habitat. And if new species is enter in the habitat, they destruct the original species or old species which are present here. Okay, so this alien species invagination, so it may introduce unintentionally or deliberating for whatever purpose. So other species, foreign species, alien species are introduced in the habitat, and when they are attacking on the habitat, what happen? The native habitat get extinct. There are few examples such as here is Nile perch introduced into the Lake Victoria. It's underlined, children. Nile perch introduced into Lake Victoria in the East Africa led eventually to the extinction of an ecologically unique ensemble of the more than 200 species of cichlid fish in the lake. So when Nile perch is introduced in the Lake Victoria, what happened? The Nile perch started the invaginating on the cichlid feed. So more than 200 Sicily feet get endangered or get extinct. This is the one example due to the alien species invasion. Second example, in our surrounding we are watching carrot grass, parthenium, lantana, water hyacinthus, which is called the ecornia, and these species are vigorously, widely they are increases, and that's why the our native species, many of the water body we are watching, they are full with the water hyacinthus. It means other plant, native plants get extinct due to the water hyacinth. So it is carrot grass, which is parthenium, lantana, and water hyacinthus ecornia. These are the alien species. When they invaginate, then they causes extinction of our native species. Third more example is given here. Recently introduction of the African catfish. It's African catfish. Third example, it is Clarius grappians. For aquaculture purpose, it posting a threat to the indigenous catfish in our river. So African catfish is introduced, and if the African catfish is, when the African catfish is introduced, it's become the threat for the our indigenous, our native catfish. So these are the this is the third cause of the extinction of the species. And fourth is our next cause is co-extinction. Co-extinction is what? If one species is depend on the other species. By chance, if one species get affected, then other species also get affected, and both species will be extinct. So when a species become extinct, the plants and animal species which are associated to each other, they are depend on the ecology. So one species get extinct, then what happen? The other species will also extinct, and that is called co-extinction. When the host species become extinct, the unique parasite which are depend on the host species, they also extinct. One more example is here in case of co-evolved plant pollinated mutualism where extinction of one invariability lead to the extinction of the other. So if plant pollination mutualism, suppose plants and insect, you can understand. So insect help for the pollination of the flower, so then productivity is increases, and the insect are getting the nectar from the flowers of the plant. So suppose they are eliminated, the insect are eliminated, then what happen? No pollination take place. So for the pollination of the flower, the insect are very important. If we will destroy the flowers of the plant, or we will distract the plant, then what happen? There will be no flower, and in the absence of the flower, the insect will also die. So these are main causes of the loss of the biodiversity. So overall in biodiversity, what we have to study, according to the IUCN Red List document, whatever species are extinct. The name of the species: dodo in Mauritius, quagga in Africa, thysin in Australia, steller cow in Russia. And when the diversity is lost, what is lead to? Decline the plant production, lower the resistance toward the environment, increase the variability. And main causes of the loss of the biodiversity, causes of biodiversity losses are habitat loss and fragmentation due to the human activity. Second, over exploitation. And I have mentioned specially here stellar cow and passenger pigeon extinct due to the over exploitation. Third class is alien species invasion. So here Nile perch is introduced, and more than 200 species of the cichlid species get extinct. Similarly, Barthenium and water hyacinth type of plant introduced, and due to the many native species, they lost. And third example I told you, it's of the African catfish, Clarius gripes. When it is introduced, it lost 3 to loss of extinction of the indigenous catfish. And last one we have discussed co-extinction. It means one species is get extinct, then it's affect to other species also. So correlated species, the species which is obligate on each other, they also get affected, they becomes extinct also. So this is all about the loss of biodiversity. Thank you, children.